Good evening, everybody. Great to be together, even though it's a virtual service. Have several announcements to go before we get started. And I want to just go over the schedule this coming week. So this Sunday, we are planning to have returning back to a live service, meaning you here, not just a virtual. We will not have the 8 a.m. service. We will have only a 10 a.m. service. And again, I want to emphasize the importance of each one of us. Make sure you wear a mask. If you don't want to wear a mask, best not to come back yet. So everyone will be there so we can protect each other and take care of each other. We will hopefully sing at 9:30. It's a little bit weather dependent. The weather looks like it could be really cold. And if it is, we'll send out an email to let everybody know we will not be singing if it's 30 degrees outside. So it kind of depends on the weather. But we'll plan on doing that. I have several announcements, and one is we want to be praying for Taylor. He is having surgery this Friday. Thomas Matthias' surgery is not on the 15th. It's going to be on January 20th, and he's having adrenal surgery. Please be praying for both of these brothers. Then I have announcements for the campus ministry. We will be having Bible talk. This is from Mitchell and Hope and Leah. We'll have Bible talk on the book of John over Zoom tonight from 8:15 to 9:15. And that will be each Wednesday night following this. Text Mitch, Hope, Leah for information on that. Anyone interested in connecting with the campus ministry, reach out to Mitch, Hope, or Leah. That way you can develop relationships with some of the brothers and sisters in the campus ministry. Great group of people, great to bring us all together. This is where we can just kind of cross over age group lines and make sure that everyone feels like they're part of the family. Also, we have a blood drive on January 10th. This will be a sign-up on the CrossWay Facebook page. You guys need to do this right away. I did not get a chance to look at it. I don't know how we are doing on that, but we have to make decisions if we are going to go through with that. So we will have service, and we will have the blood drive this Sunday, January 10th. And that is all my announcements. Now, this is a bad habit that we've been getting into in the church, is me having to do things like this with people leaving. I like doing interviews with people staying, but not with them leaving. But we are sorry about that. It's just we're not used to using these masks with this. Should I switch over to a different mask? Are we okay? Okay, we'll keep doing it. So it's a sad day for me. I feel like kind of a spiritual father to these two. They are heading out of town this weekend. Really, they have to start work on Monday. They'll give you more details about this. But first of all, I just want to say, you guys have been with us for about 20 years. You were just telling me. That's amazing. It's neat to see the church grow through all that. You guys have been an instrumental part in it. Your impact on the church is amazing. And one of the neatest things for me to see is as you guys grew spiritually, you not only grew individually, but you made an impact on so many other lives. And that's one of the greatest things you can see is when the people that you love changing other people's lives. It's an incredible blessing. So I'm really thankful for each one of you, your hearts for doing that. So kind of tell us your plans, if you don't mind. What do you guys, over the next week, you got a lot going on. I know that. So you can tell people so they know what's going on. I know this wasn't the planned way you wanted to do that. We were hoping we would all be together for the last month, but it just hasn't worked that way. So go ahead.
Well, we both got jobs in Tennessee, and we're heading kind of that way. It's bittersweet. It's terrible that we can't get together with a lot of people that we've spent a lot of our last 20 years with and have helped us to grow and that we love very much. But we're saying goodbye in a lot of different ways, and hopefully we'll be able to come back quite often, and this will be our little vacation spot. But we have already packed the U-Haul and hauled it to Tennessee, and we got some help from some of the brothers and sisters at church, and then we've unloaded there. We have probably another small load to take up. We're going to head up this weekend. We have to finish cleaning the house and that kind of thing, but we close on the house after we're gone, so we're going to do all that virtually. And we don't have to do it in person. So, but we're looking forward to that.
All right, anything? All right, you're good. One of the things that I really want to say is watching you guys grow, and I shared this with you earlier, I always felt like you guys got it. Meaning you understood the importance of reaching out to the lost. You understood the importance to helping people grow and being involved with lives. And I always felt like you really understood the whole priority of Christ and the church and the way you based your life on that. So it's always really a great thing. You guys had a different start to Christianity. It's an inspirational story, but just can you give us a little bit of background? Like I know a lot of people know this, some people don't know, so I think it'd really be helpful. Where were you at when this all started? What was going on in your lives 20 years ago, 21 years ago? What was going on?
I'd say we were a mess. I know I speak probably for both of us, but we were a mess. We were into drugs, partying, pretty much anything you name, we probably had tried it. We were going down the wrong road, and I don't know that I would be alive if I had not come here, if I'm being honest. A lot of our friends are not. A lot of our friends that weren't able to change their lives are not living, or they're in prison. So I know that for me, I was in a bad place. I was in a pretty bad place.
I have the opportunity at work to share this story a lot, and I have condensed versions and longer versions, and one of the things that I always word to people is we were just terrible humans. We were not nice. We were not good people. We didn't do good things for people, and we were not the type of person that you would feel comfortable reaching out to or doing good things for. And I couldn't imagine someone attempting to do something nice for us without being nervous and scared for their own safety, to be honest with you. I think as Christians, we look back and we look back and I can see when we reach out to people, I can see people that are in similar situations, people that you don't want to reach out and help because of the difficulty or the complexity of their situations. And, we did, I always tell people that our story before we moved to Tallahassee or got yanked to Tallahassee by God, I guess is a better way to put it. I had gotten into a lot of trouble, and I had broken into a house, and that gentleman was fortunate enough the gentleman that I broke into his house was fortunate enough or we were fortunate enough that he made a deal with my parents to allow me to move away and get away from the people I was following. I think little did they know I was probably leading all those people pretty bad. And it happened to be that this gentleman over here was at least pretending to be a preacher at the time, and they felt obligated to take us in, I think, and I assume now wanted to take us in, knowing that what we needed was something that we weren't getting and hadn't been exposed to. I was not a Christian at all. I didn't believe in God and didn't believe in the Bible. I had no moral value, which, to be honest, if you have no moral value and you don't think that there's an eternal life that you need to worry about, I don't see what the waste in being nice to people was, and so that's pretty much how I lived my life. Now, meanwhile, this young lady who had lived a very hard and difficult and rough life, rough home situation, was just scraping by and doing what she needed to live, and wasn't necessarily choosing that. It was just happening to her. And she had always said she believed in God, and she would say, at night she'd say, well, don't forget to say your prayers, and I'd say, you say them for me, I'm not wasting my breath. Just very against, I was very against religion in general. I had seen a lot of people that were claimed to be religious, but then didn't act like that 24/7, and that made a, kind of a scar in my heart and hardened my heart towards that. We were, I say forced here. I came here kicking and screaming, I remember the ride with Chris and Allison, who met my parents in Atlanta to drop me off. And I mean, they were always pleasant. They were always, as my aunt and uncle, they would always been, wonderful to us. And so we had come down and spent summers, and before I was so terrible, I think, had spent summers here, and so they had previously had acted in our lives anyway, and for them to, clear a spot for us, or clear a spot for me. I moved here, and I had to move in with some guys that I didn't know, and at the time it was Kevin Winship and two other brothers from one's from Thomasville, one was from Tallahassee, and they had this house of college age guys that was going to allow me to stay there, and I got to sleep on the couch, and they weren't going to charge me rent, and my Uncle Randy got me a job at Fuddruckers, and just going to try to lay low for a little while. My intent was to lay low for a minute and then just sneak back to Tennessee, where my wife now was my girlfriend at the time and happened to be pregnant with our oldest child. And shortly thereafter, I started studying the Bible with the guys at the house, and I just did not understand why people that didn't know me were being nice to me, and they were probably, I mean, I don't know, you could ask Kevin, he'll tell you, but I was not a person that I wouldn't let me sleep on my couch, I mean, I had to be a little scary, and they were taking Chris's word that hey, we really need this to happen, and so I appreciate their faith and willingness to sacrifice what they were doing. And I get here, and out of respect, I tried to obey the rules of the house. I tried to be as calm and as lay low as I could, and we started studying the Bible. I studied with my Uncle Randy, and I studied with Keith Winship, and a little bit with Kevin, and a little bit with Derek. It was living with us at the time, and I started seeing just something different. These guys were living things 7 days a week, and I just thought, that maybe there's something about this. And I convinced Laura to move down, and that I painted this picture that we would have our first Christmas together in our own little apartment, and it would be great and wonderful. And as I started studying the Bible, I came to this conviction that I didn't think we needed to live together. And I didn't really tell her until she showed up with all her stuff that we weren't going to live together, and that I had to make her live with my Uncle Randy and Dee Dee and Emily and Alex, and that they were going to sacrifice in their home and squeeze a crazy pregnant lady in there, and she, but they sacrificed, and she did it, fussing at me, but she did it, and it made a big difference in not only our lives but our children, and hopefully a lot of people for eternity.
Amen. Laura, anything you would add to that story?
I would have to agree. I would say that Randy and Dee Dee, I'm forever grateful, to them for opening their home, but, and grateful to Donnie for suggesting, sending Brent here. But I think that a lot of what stirred in my heart and changed, helped me to change. Some of it I was kind of forced to change with being pregnant, but after that, what really helped, I think, to see something different was kind of how Brent talked with complete strangers opening their home to me. I had never met Randy and Dee Dee, maybe Randy once at Fuddruckers when we were dating, but they opened their home. They booted Alex out of his room. They let me have a room in their home, and they took care of me like I was their family. And honestly, I think probably against advice to do that. But they just felt that it was the right thing to do, and they loved me, and they opened their home to me, and they treated me like I was their own. And I think that made a huge difference for me. Just to see, like Brent said, people are different. Never really had that before. You know, you have Heather and Tab gave me a car. I mean, who does that? You know, he gave me a car. You know, Chris got me a job at TOC, and it just, you know, I think people really loving and sacrificing and giving and trying any way they could to help. And I'm sure they were just trying to help the situation in hopes that we would, you know, do better. Or maybe they were helping because they were asked or told to. I don't know. But it made a huge difference, you know.
Yeah, I think and genuine love makes a difference. I think that's the key thing, and you guys have developed that same quality of loving and giving. You know, if you go to Romans 12:9, I want to read a section in here because I think a lot of these verses talk about the life that you all have lived here. In verse 9, it says, "Love must be sincere," and I think you receive that, but you've also passed it on to other people with genuine love. People that come around you guys, spend time with you in your home. People feel loved. It goes on. I'll read this and I'll pick out a few highlights. It says, "Hate what is evil, cling to what is good, be devoted to one another in brotherly love. Honor one another above yourself. Never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor, serving the Lord. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. Share with God's people who are in need. Practice hospitality." You all are servants. You read through here. I don't know how many people you've served in the church, but it's an awful lot of them. And you've done it in many, many ways, but you guys really put this into practice. That same thing that was given to you, you all have learned it, and you've passed it on and made a difference in other people's life. You are generous with people. I think almost everybody here has received some of your generosity through the years. And your hospitality is amazing. I think that one amazing quality of you guys is you have, how many people have lived in your house? How many people have you had over for dinner? How many times did you have Bible studies in your house and you guys cooked, prepared everything? You all are amazing with that. And I think just like it made a difference in your life, you made a difference in other people's life. And I really, really appreciate that qualities in you. But sharing with God's people who are in need, practice hospitality, that describes you guys a lot. I mean, and I really, really am grateful for your hearts. Really appreciate your genuineness. Anything about those stuff that you want to comment on or anything? Hospitality isn't always fun. I know that it's a lot of work sometimes, but
It's fun for me because she does all the work. So
Good deal,
it's all I have to do is entertain and tell stories, and I kind of enjoy that. But you reminded me of our first home. Well, first of all, first home, that was kind of crazy. We, when we finally did get married, Dylan was actually a year old. So Laura bounced from Randy and Dee Dee's house. She moved in with some sisters from the church. She shared a room with Sean Winship. And when I say she, by then we had a little boy. We had Dylan. And so he was a little screamer. And those girls just took him in. That girls in that house took him in and helped mom him when she was, we're just babies having a baby, And then we sent him back and forth. I got him, I think, 3 nights a week, and she got him 4 nights a week. And, poor Kevin, I left his room and would go sleep in the couch because by then we were sharing a room, Kevin and I, and I would build a box out of the pillows and put Tyler in it, or put Dylan in that box out of the pillows so that when he did cry while I was making the bottle, it wouldn't, it would muffle the noise and wouldn't wake everybody up. And she was having to do things that, take him for rides. That's probably like illegal too. But, he lived, he seems to be okay. But, we were trying to learn how to do that and to navigate it and to make the right choices while we were doing it, which wasn't easy. And when we finally got married, by then I was living at the church had a house in Thomasville, and I was helping take care of the grounds at the church and was living there, and she got to move into that home with me, which allowed us to save money to be able to purchase our first home. But what I remember so vividly is, we did like to entertain even then when we were in our first home, and we didn't have a huge house, but I remember being able to sit in the the dining room at a table and look and see the whole kitchen, and I could see the whole living room, and there was not. I remember, we're having a prayer time and just thinking, and I realized that there wasn't one object in my whole house that I could see that wasn't given to us. There wasn't one thing that we had purchased. We put the down payment on the house, and we technically us and the bank owned the house, but I didn't own any of the things in it. I mean, I owned all the things in it, but I didn't pay for them. And to realize that we were surrounded by people that were just pouring blessings on us and pouring gifts on us. And, the one thing that's amazing about the sacrifices, the car and the homes is that people were giving not out of their luxury. They were giving out of, things that could help get them ahead in life. You can trade a car in, you can sell a car and make money and have a down payment on your own car. And, you can have more things and more items, but these people were constantly just giving to us, and in a way that it was so overwhelming that you realized that you didn't earn any of it. And to me, even now, I look at the blessings that we have, the opportunity that we're going through now, and realizing that I don't deserve any of it. And I think that's the point of the scriptures is I don't believe we definitely don't deserve God's grace, and we don't deserve His Son, and we don't deserve the things that, and to mimic Him. To me, that's one of the best ways to mimic Jesus is to give when we're not really supposed to, just to give anyway, and to give till it hurts. And that was just remember that was one of those stories that I distinctly remember sitting in the room thinking, this is a shame we didn't purchase not one thing in this house.
I really do think that is a really great lesson for us as a church to remember, because it's us showing love to people that makes the difference. And I think with this COVID thing, it's easier to be isolated, easier to be withdrawn, and we don't get involved with other people. I really urge us to look for those opportunities to give to people, to get invested in other lives, make a difference, because it works. It's a way of expressing love. It's what Jesus would do, just as Brent said, but I think it's really, really critical. Were you going to say something? Another thing that I really admire both of you for is your willingness to get involved with situations that are challenging and speak the truth in love. You all have done that multiple times. We've talked about it different times and get involved with those people, and I really do appreciate that. It's really what Ephesians 4 says. It's how the church grows, and I appreciate your willingness to do that. I pray that we as a church can do that more and more and more. It's really easy to think someone else will do it, but you guys have been willing to step out there and do it. So I really, really am thankful for that. I do want to bring up a couple other areas. So in professional life, you guys have done an amazing job. In Colossians 3, it talks about whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord. And I really do, both of you have excelled with that. You've done a great job. Any thoughts about that or comments about work? You both seem to enjoy what you do, and, well, go ahead.
Hey, I'll talk. I got no problem with that. Again, it's very similar to our life picture is our work picture, and we're having to tell people bye from work too, and we have a lot of really close relationships with people at work, and I've enjoyed my job. A lot of people complain that they don't like where they work, and I can make complaints up about our work too that are probably true, but I felt like we grew. As we were growing spiritually, as we were, growing financially through work, and it was almost like we were growing closer to a family at work also. And so it became very easy to excel at work because it was another family environment, a place where they were giving to us, and I still feel not deserving of the job that I have. I have a high school education, and I have a job with benefits that working indoors, and I don't know a ton of people that have that opportunity. And so I always have felt and still feel that, not to squander that opportunity, and I've very much enjoyed we're working at a job. Both of us get to work there where that you're helping people, and even at the times that you're actually hurting them, you're doing what's right for them and you're helping them. And that is a self-rewarding thing too. So it's been very easy to serve there and not feel, drained when you leave. Sometimes things get frustrating, and that's at any job, in any family, in any environment. Things get like that. But
Flip back over here. It's down a little low.
sorry, guys. It's been a very easy opportunity to do that.
What are some of your greatest victories where you've seen God work in the most amazing ways that you can remember through all this time? If you have a thought that stands out, you don't have to have one, but if you think, man, this was an amazing time in my life because of this. Anything that you would share about that?
Is my mic working? Push it closer. Is that a little better?
Just kind of hold it right next to
Is that okay? That's all right.
Yep.
All right. I'm going to try not to wiggle. I've got a couple that are very near and dear to my heart. One of them was an argument. I get in arguments with God in my prayer life, and I don't suggest to go into it thinking you're going to win the argument, but to know that you're going to lose it. And one of the things that I remember early on in the church, anytime people would get into a situation that was remotely related to our past lifestyle, they would get directed towards us, which was great because I'm comfortable there. And so anybody ever had a drug problem or a family drug problem or just a wild environment, a wild experience, a lot of times when people share those things, it scares religious people away. For me, it was not scary, and it didn't scare me away. And so I enjoyed those kind of things. But I remember getting to a point where I felt like we needed more diversity. We needed more diversity within the church. And I did mean I did mean racial diversity also, but also just background diversity. And we were surrounded by a lot of people that had been good their whole life. And that is a hard bridge to gap. And so I remember specifically praying for racial diversity. And a gentleman came to me. He was a Hispanic fella, and he spoke a lot of Spanish and not very good English. And I started studying the Bible with him, and we studied. And it was every night, and it was late into the night. And poor Laura would cook for us, and then she'd go to bed, and we would be, we were arguing and fussing and fighting through those scriptures. And I remember, praying to God, it's like, man, this is so hard. And then I think we studied the Bible for a year, and then he was baptized. And I remember specifically fussing back at God, said, man, I know I prayed for diversity, but good Lord, make it easy. And, just really fussing at him. And then all of a sudden, Mitchell comes in the picture. And I studied the Bible, I think, for one day with Mitchell. And I was like, I hate to say this, but he's ready to get dunked. I mean, this guy's he's primed and ready. And I remember looking back and thinking, well, if God doesn't have a sense of humor, I mean, to make me struggle for that long and then turn around and just hand me one, I'm like, see, now why can't they all be like that? And I will tell you that one of the things I am most proud of with the ministry here and the ministry, even Cornerstone, and evolving to this is watching the diverse group of people change, and not just one background, because not that that's not great, but I just love to bridge that gap and make that easier. And over the years, less and less people have been having to be directed to us, and there's other people that can field that. And then you can also get in there and help teach people how to bridge those gaps. And I think that's one of those prayers that was answered to me that I just felt like was a huge goal for me in my life. And we've had some financial ones that have been amazing like that too in our lives. We've overcame some things in our marriage that, without God, it wouldn't have been possible. So we've had him work in our lives in such amazing ways that you could write devotional books on it and still not cover, all the subjects. We've been really blessed. Just been tremendously blessed.
I think I think that it's really hard. I think it's really hard when you go through things. Can you hear me?
Yep.
It's really hard when you go through things. You want to be private, and you don't want people to know your business, and for whatever reason, you don't want people to judge you. You don't want people to make you feel however. Maybe you don't want the attention on you, but I would have to say that the stuff that we've gone through, I feel like we've gone through it to be open about it and use it to help other people. And I guess I just say that to encourage you, if you have stuff that's going on, just talking to somebody and being open about it, because your story, I truly believe your story helps other people. It also helps people not to feel alone. There's a lot of people that are probably sitting in the church when we're all here together that feel like they're the only one that's going through whatever they're going through. But if more people would talk about and just be open about what's going on in their lives and not be ashamed or, whatever holds people back from talking about, being honest and real, I think that there's a lot of people that would feel less alone and understand that they're not weird or they're not the only ones and that there's help.
I think that's great. Appreciate that. Let me ask you a couple more things as we kind of finish up. One would be if you could stop and say, hey, thank you to anyone, to the church, whatever, what would you say? I know you're going to be around to see people, but it's an opportunity to express gratitude if you would like to do that now. Anything that you would like to say?
I don't even know where you could start. I mean, truly, the whole church has really played such a role. But, I'm forever grateful. I've said it once, I've said it 100 times, to Randy and Dee Dee for opening their home and loving me. Had all the girls then in the college group, Sean and Chrissy and Heather, and just, I wasn't in that same stage in life. I mean, I was a kid that should have been, college age, but I was a kid having a kid, and they treated us like we were a part of the campus. I took a newborn baby to the campus studies at FSU, and nobody skipped a beat. Everybody just loved us and treated us like we were part of the family. And I will never forget. Dylan was brand new. I didn't have a job. It's too early to go to work somewhere. And Peter and Cookie, they decided that they would pay me to clean their house so that I could bring Dylan with me. And I would go there and I would clean their house and take Dylan with me in his little carrier and hang out. And when I would finish cleaning, they would always say, if you want to hang out by the pool, and just built relationship after relationship just because people were really trying to serve us and love us. Studying with Allison and Dee Dee and Shirley, it's just, there's so many people that have played such a huge role, honestly.
It's difficult to condense 20 years, that's half of our lives, and find all the people that you need to be grateful for. It's funny because you go through different stages, and in the beginning it was a lot of people that helped us, and we've kind of mentioned the names and the sacrifices that they made, the examples that they gave. We started getting into a different stage of parenting, and the examples of watching other kids grow and trying to figure out what to do with our own children. It was that was another way that the church was giving to us. And so I could go through and I could name the people that we have stories about, and I think that's important. But what I find myself very grateful for at the moment when we're really dissecting the last 20 years, not just today, but we have been for the last couple of weeks and months, are some of the relationships that we have that are current, and not just relationships where it was relationships sometimes where we reached out to other people, and very thankful for that. I mean, I remember watching little Matthias grow. I mean, he's a giant, so obviously not growing physically, but watching him come over and stumble, and poor Justin, I mean, he was like a giraffe that didn't know how to walk spiritually, and just watching these guys grow. And I guess what I'm thankful for is the fact that they grew, and being able to look and see their changes, and see them become mature disciples and brothers that you can depend on, and see them reach out to other people, and so I think a lot of that is, I'm grateful for the sacrifices that were made for us, but I'm grateful for the torch that keeps going, and for to watch it grow, and the friendships grow deep, and the kind that that 20 more years from now, that no matter where we are, that those relationships will still be there. And to me, I'm very grateful for those, not just those two individual guys, but all those relationships that have evolved from living a life for Christ that would not. I remember reaching out with Brandy and Victor, and even being introduced to Tim and Lisa, and just growing in our relationships with those people, and seeing them continue to fight to be a disciple, to fight to do the right things, and watch them go make hard decisions in their own lives and in their own families, and stand up to and become disciples to show their parents, and to reach out to their families. I think the courage that gives me, I am very grateful for that, because I also feel like I am obligated to go into that stage for myself, in this next stage that we're going to. And that's not something that I've had to battle. To be honest, that's something that you've paved the way for our family, and which also leads me to be very grateful to you.
So if we as a church could do something to help you, pray for you specifically, is there a thing that would be helpful for you?
Man, I don't know. I mean, we were joking earlier about, Dan and Debbie leaving, and Danny saying, feed my goats, making sure that we were feeding his kids and taking care of his kids. But, we're leaving a kid behind. And I know that we're going to be back, and, we're going to come visit our family. You guys you're 20 years worth of our family. And, we have a kid that's going to still be here, and we're going to come, and we'll be back and forth. But, I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how often that looks. So, praying for us as a whole, it's huge. We're all starting over with everything. I don't know what it's going to look like up there, just making sure that we're staying strong in our faith, and, taking care of our kid that's kind of left behind here. I know he's in Valdosta, but, just, I don't know, feeding our goat.
Brent, anything?
I don't know, it's not just for me though. It's dreams, man. It seems like the bigger I dream, the bigger I aim for, the more powerful the response feels to become, or seems to become. So I just would pray that you tell us, or pray for us to think outside the box, and to try to grow God's kingdom the way God wants us to grow. Here recently, my prayer for myself and my family has been to make things obvious for us, and to make the path that He chooses for us obvious, and to deny ourselves. I think our whole story of the last 20 years has been not necessarily trying to listen to what we want to do, is to try to find what God's asking us to do. And sometimes he's asking us in whispers, and then sometimes he's screaming and shouting and kicking at us, and just trying to listen to him and obey him. But I just pray for monstrous dreams. I mean, for his kingdom to grow, and for us to have fun doing it. I think that's what I'm looking forward to.
Amen. Well, I want to close out just like I do with weddings. A lot of times I try to give a challenge, a charge kind of for you guys. I love you, believe in you. And this is probably, I think, in your life, probably going to be the most challenging spiritual step you've ever taken. And I think you're going to have to do some things you've probably never done before to be successful. So you're going to face some old giants, potentially. You're going to really have to be wise in the way you deal with those, and you're going to run into some new ones. And make sure that you surround yourself with people who have the same heart for God that you need to have. Really, really critical. It's your foundation. You guys working together, being side by side, encouraging each other. Don't let you lose your spiritual focus. There's a Proverbs 4, verse 20. It says, "My son, pay attention to what I say. Listen carefully to my words. Do not let them out of your sight. Keep them within your heart, for they are life to those who find them, and health to a man's whole body. Above all else," it's a really big line, "above all else, guard your heart, for it is the wellspring of life. Put away perversity from your mouth. Keep corrupt talk far from your lips. Let your eyes look straight ahead. Don't ever lose your focus on eternity, ever. Fix your gaze directly before you. Make level paths for your feet, and take only the ways that are firm. Do not swerve to the right or to the left. Keep your foot from evil." Don't lose sight of God no matter what happens. Protect your heart. Guard each other's hearts. Strengthen each other. Even when it's challenging, even when you feel alone, don't let Satan sneak in. He's going to try. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. He's going to try to do that. So with all your strength, surround yourself with the right people and pursue God with all your heart. There's a blessing that I love a lot. I usually use it in weddings. This isn't a wedding, obviously, but it's a blessing that God says, and it says, "The Lord said to Moses, tell Aaron and his sons, this is how you are to bless the Israelites. Say to them, the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace." And so I pray that that's what God will do to you. Give you peace and protect you from the evil one. So let's pray. Father, we thank you so much for your love. What a great story. What a great impact, how you work in people's lives. I appreciate your hand guiding them through the years and bringing them into a relationship with you. It's pretty amazing how that all worked out. And so many people would have not pursued this, and I thank you for bringing the right people into their lives. Thank you for all the servants, for all the love, for all the different things that have happened. I pray, God, that you will guard them, protect them. May their minds be set on heaven. May their hearts be set on heaven. May they, Father, whatever they do, may they seek you first above all else in all that they do. Please protect them and help them to be safe. And above all, make them go closer to you and impact the world around them. It's in the name of Christ that we all pray together as one body. Amen. Amen. Love you guys. Have a great night. We will see you on Sunday morning.